Imagine a scenario where, unexpectedly, the sky lights up with blue and yellow, vibrant colors that, instead of beautifying, bring a terrifying mystery. These lights not only shine but have the disturbing power to make people disappear without a trace. Think of the horror of seeing friends and family being swallowed by this phenomenon while you remain, forced to confront a grim and hidden reality. The story begins in 1982, in the town of Blue Hill, Pennsylvania. We meet Ray and Olivia, a couple who return to their home and discover a scene of chaos, furniture overturned, and personal items scattered across the floor. Panic sets in when they realize their daughter, Maisie, is not in her room nor anywhere else in the house. The desperate search for her extends throughout the residence and its surroundings, but there's no sign of Maisie. It's as if she had been taken by the mysterious lights. As the days turn into weeks and the weeks into months, a year passes without any clue of Maisie. Ray and Olivia face endless anguish, putting up posters and following any lead that might point to their daughter's whereabouts, but all in vain. The pain of loss becomes a constant in their lives, leaving a mark of sadness and desolation. In an effort to bring some comfort, family members visit Ray and Olivia. Among them are Billy, Ray's brother, Arlene, Olivia's sister, and her husband Kenneth, an influential man in the region, along with Morgan, another of Olivia's brothers. The presence of family offers a small relief, but the mystery of Maisie's disappearance casts a shadow over everyone. During the visit, Noah, Ray's son, turns on the television, and everyone watches Kenneth giving a speech about Maisie's case. The mention of Maisie reignites the pain, and emotion fills the room. Unable to bear it, Ray suddenly turns off the television. Later that evening, during dinner, emotions ran even higher. A heated argument erupted between Ray and Billy, with Morgan trying to mediate and encouraging Ray to rebuild his life. However, for Ray, the weight of his loss was still too heavy, making every day a struggle to move forward. That night, a little later, Ray found himself on the quiet porch of his house, lost in thought, when his gaze was drawn to an unusual flash crossing the sky. The mysterious light flew over his home and disappeared behind it. Initially, Ray dismissed the phenomenon, assuming it to be some new type of military aircraft. However, it wasn't long before an intensely bright light caught his attention, now emanating from the woods bordering his property. A sense of unease took hold of him, and driven by his growing discomfort, Ray grabbed his gun, determined to investigate the source of the luminescence. Though it was late at night and aware of the dangers the forest might conceal in the darkness, Ray didn't want to venture out alone. Billy, noticing his friend's determination, offered to accompany him. Noah, Morgan, and Kenneth also decided to join the expedition. The group of 5 got into the car and headed towards the heart of the forest. Upon arrival, Ray, Billy, and Kenneth entered the dense woods, while Noah and Morgan chose to stay by the vehicle. Meanwhile, back at the house, Olivia and Arlene were startled by noises outside, and when they investigated, they found a lifeless bird, adding yet another unsettling element to the already mysterious night. Deeper in the forest, the trio moved cautiously when a bizarre yellow light suddenly appeared among the trees. At the same time, near the car, Noah and Morgan began hearing chilling sounds that filled them with sudden terror. The tension was so great that they decided to take refuge inside the car, but the situation escalated when the vehicle's lights began to flicker frantically and the engine abruptly stopped working. Morgan stepped out to inspect the issue, but that's when a beam of blue light enveloped him completely, and in the blink of an eye, he was swept away into the unknown, leaving Noah in a state of shock and isolation. When the light faded, Ray, alerted by Noah's screams, ran towards the car, only to find that Morgan had vanished. Overcome by despair, he began searching the surrounding area, calling out his friend's name, but received no response. Kenneth, witness to the unexplainable, was in shock, while Billy, trying to stay calm, led him back to the car. With no signs of Morgan and no other options, Ray decided to return home. There, Olivia and Arlene, anxious, asked about Morgan, and Billy, with regret, told them about the friend's unexpected disappearance. Terror set in when Olivia attempted to contact the authorities, but the call was abruptly cut off. At that moment of growing tension, strange noises echoed from Maisie's room. With their hearts racing, everyone rushed there, only to be met with a scene of pure bewilderment. Maisie's toys were moving on their own, orchestrated by an invisible force that manipulated them at will. At that exact moment, the house was engulfed by uncontrollable flickering lights, which soon extinguished, leaving the space in complete darkness. From the window, the view was the same as before in the forest. Beams of blue and yellow light danced in the air, The intrusive lights began seeping through the cracks of the house, casting a sinister glow throughout the rooms. Suddenly, the rumble of thunder echoed, shaking the structure of the house violently. In a fearful impulse, everyone sought refuge wherever they could, gripped by the uncertainty of what was unfolding. The luminous phenomenon ceased as abruptly as it had begun, leaving a heavy silence in the air. Still breathless, they noticed a figure moving stealthily outside the house, heightening the tension in the room. Suspecting an intruder, Ray armed himself and went outside, determined to confront the possible invader. He had barely taken a few steps when noises from the upper floor caught his attention. Prioritizing the safety of his loved ones, he quickly ascended the stairs but found no one. Persisting in his search, he joined Kenneth and Billy to inspect the basement. There, they found the door ajar. With a growing sense of dread, Ray cautiously advanced toward the door. Suddenly, the same blue light that had taken Morgan engulfed him, and in the blink of an eye he disappeared, leaving Kenneth and Billy frozen in disbelief. After Ray's disappearance, Billy, consumed by panic, sprinted up the stairs. Kenneth remained in the basement when the blue light enveloped him too, causing him to vanish without a trace. Arlene, in another part of the house, was the next to be swallowed by the mysterious light. Only Olivia, Billy, and Noah remained. As they descended the stairs, the light followed them, burning like a cascade of flames. On the street, they ran until their adrenaline allowed, and looking up at the sky, they saw the blue and yellow lights fading away. Not long after, the arrival of the police broke the stillness of the early morning. A sheriff approached them, curious to see them there, questioning why they were on the street at that hour. He also mentioned that a call from that location had been cut off by the storm. In a detailed account to the officers, Olivia and Billy described the recent events. In response, the authorities accompanied them back to the couple's home, where a thorough search was conducted. They scoured every corner of the residence, paying particular attention to the dark basement, but the result was disheartening. Only a cap belonging to Ray was found, with no trace of anyone else. The sheriff, skeptical of the trio's claims, suggested they might be fabricating the story. Concerned for their safety, he advised them to seek refuge at the station. However, Olivia, Billy, and Noah chose to remain in the comfort of their home. Upon returning to the station, the officers were met by a gathering of alarmed citizens. A female officer informed the sheriff that reports of sightings of mysterious lights, tinted blue and yellow, had flooded the previous night. She confided that she too had witnessed these phenomena, linking them to a personal and unusual experience. In a surprising twist, she revealed having seen Maisie, Olivia, and Ray's missing daughter among the mysterious lights. This testimony prompted the sheriff to take the investigation of these bizarre events more seriously. Back at home, while trying to regain some composure, an unexpected noise echoed from the kitchen. Billy, driven by curiosity and a touch of anxiety, decided to investigate. There, a comforting sight awaited him. His long-lost dog greeted him calmly. The young man rushes toward his four-legged friend, overwhelmed with relief. However, at the peak of his joy, he encounters the sinister blue glow that invades the space. Meanwhile, Olivia is resting in her room until an apparition startles her. An alien entity, with a vibrant green hue and a never-before-seen appearance, enters silently. Terror grips her, and her screams of fear echo through the house. Alerted, Billy runs toward the room, struggling with a door that inexplicably refuses to open. Inside, the creature touches Olivia's head, and she instantly disappears. Suddenly, Olivia is engulfed in a cosmic vision offered by the alien, showing her the vastness of the universe and the galaxy as never seen from Earth. When she regains her clarity, her mind is flooded with memories of the day Maisie disappeared. In the vision, she sees that Kenneth had visited her house that fateful day. She watches as Maisie tells Kenneth that her parents are not home and invites him to wait. Unaware of the danger, the girl retreats to her room while Kenneth follows her quietly and closes the door behind him. Olivia was utterly terrified. Kenneth, with a grim look, committed the unimaginable by taking Maisie's life. The intensity of the revelation was like a knife, tearing Olivia's heart apart, and overwhelmed by the weight of the pain, she collapsed into tears. The scene was so vivid and painful that it felt real, but after a few moments, she woke up. She was only visualizing a horrific possibility, not a confirmed fact. It was at that moment that Ray and the others, who had mysteriously disappeared, reappeared. They sat together, each paler and more shaken than the next, sharing the distressing visions they had witnessed. It was undeniable. All of them had seen the same terrifying last moments of Maisie. With hearts heavy, filled with both anger and an abyssal sadness, the group decided it was time to act. They were united by a burning desire to take justice into their own hands, faced with the horror Kenneth had caused. When the sheriff arrived, the atmosphere grew thick with palpable tension. Pressured by the group's fury and the imposing presence of the law, Kenneth had no choice but to admit to his crime. He then led them to the secret location in the forest, where he had hidden Maisie's body, now marked by the sadness of a red cloak covering her remains. Without delay, rescue teams were called and swiftly made their way to the site, bringing forth the painful reality of the loss. As the group watched Kenneth's flashbacks, the tormenting visions that had haunted him that grim night in the forest played out before them. Guilt consumed him intensely, reflecting the inner torment that crushed him with each passing moment. In the end, with her eyes turned to the sky, Olivia found a moment to thank the alien beings for their bizarre intervention. Despite the initial terror, this extraterrestrial encounter ultimately revealed the truth about Maisie's tragic fate. With this new perspective, both Olivia and Ray began to find some solace, a first step on the long and arduous path to healing their wounds and rebuilding their lives torn apart by grief and the revealed truth. And so the film ends.